All right, shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I got to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles of the great millstone who taught me this truth. Salutations to your elect out there scattered wherever you may be. May Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai bless you and your household. And may you continue to endure in these last days. Also, shalom to you, Akim, on the highways and byways, week in and week out, presenting your bodies as a living sacrifice, and who are doing these daily epistles, all right, teaching. May Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, also bless you and your household. Excuse me. All right, it is your brother Debakia from the Sons of Yasharallah GMS Colorado Springs camp, coming to you again with another lesson. And I pray that you're edified, because that is what this thing is about. All right? Edification. All right? And exhortation. All right? Properly teaching this word. More or less, I was on my way to the plantation, a.k.a. job. Then a Rakah Quadash, which is the Holy Spirit in Hebrew, hopped on me and said I needed to do a lesson. I got to be obedient, so that's what I'll do. Right? The Spirit led me to the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3. All right, Lord's will, we get this whole thing. As we know, 2 Timothy and 1 Timothy were written by the Apostle Paul, who was from the noble tribe of Benjamin, all right, which are you so-called West Indians today, a.k.a. you Jamaicans, all right? Ignore the background noise, Baba Kasha. But yes, the Apostle Paul was a true man of the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, in which we like to conduct ourselves the same way. All right, we use the prophets as an example. We'll see how long this lesson is. We'll see where the Spirit takes it. All right, this is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3, beginning at verse 1. Okay? As we see right here, the dangers of the last days. The Apostle Paul wrote this to his son in the Spirit, Timothy, okay, because he was an understudy of the Apostle Paul about the future, all right? To prophesy, okay, means to say before, all right? And prior to the prophets being called prophets, they were also known as the seers. Okay, because they seen things before they happened. They were visionaries. You got to have a vision in this thing. All right? We can't just focus on what's around us. We have to focus on the spiritual. Let's get it. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. The dangers of the last days. Verse 1. You should know this, in the NLT, by the way, New Living Translation. You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. All right, these are very difficult times. Okay, you got mass layoffs at a high number. A good portion of the country aren't even working and they're broke. All right, tariffs over here, tariffs over there. All right, food prices continue to soar, rent at an all-time high. Inflation and mass inflation. But you silly Edomite Americans and you Christian Americans, right, so-called Christian Americans, think that America is going to be great again. Nigga, let's just be honest. This country has never been great, all right? This country was built on the bloodshed of my ancestors, okay, which are the so-called blacks, right? Not just my ancestors, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, all right, the tribes, okay? That's when America was great. Okay, so it was great when we were in slavery. So that's just code word for let's put the Israelites in slavery again. And that's not going to happen, you damn devils. All right, you're going into slavery. Plot twist. Verse 2, for people will only love themselves and their money. All right, they will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents. All right, and that's in the faith as well. Our elders, and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. All right, this truth, to teach this truth is sacred. And you got niggas out there playing with the names, all right, playing with the doctrine. Yahweh Shemel Shah is gonna destroy you niggas, and he's just gonna put you to death. All right. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at power, disobedient to their parents, and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. Verse 3. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. Okay, these scriptures are very simple. All right, but then again, it is a mystery. If you don't understand the history, you will not understand the mystery. All right, to have self-control is to not react out of everything that comes your way. Every what's the word I'm looking for? Every action doesn't need a reaction. All right, you can just let people babble. Nonetheless, now that we're new men and women in this truth, we don't go around with these niggerish ways. All right, these coon-ass ways. We put off our old man and our old woman, and we try to proceed and walk around as righteous men and women, all right, of the elect, Lord's will. Have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. All right, you hate the apostles and the elders, beginning with Elder Apostle Tahar, because we preach and teach and prophesy what is good. But we also are the prophets of doom, because look, all good is not coming to this country. Yes, good is coming for the elect, but look, we're still gonna have to go through our fair share of hell until those missiles come in, until those chariots come. All right? And now you got an all-out attack on the truth from you fucking bug outs. You niggas ain't stopping shit. Hey, Yahweh Shemel Shah Baba Kashah Shalak Rayam. Send evil to anybody out there who's trying to stop this glorious gospel. All right? May you be confounded, and may your most wickedest nightmare come to reality. All right? May Yahweh Shemel Shah judge you or your family or someone close to you dearly that you love. All right? Since you want to come against this ancient truth. All right, you don't think the angels see that? You fucking humans are so prideful. All right, pride cometh before destruction. All right, have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. All right, so y'all hate the prophets because we're good. We're good men. All right, they will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than God. Verse 5. They will act religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly. All right, stay away from people like that. So how are you sitting here acting like you're Mr. and Mrs. Know-It-All when you don't even acknowledge Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai? Okay? It just doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. All right? The hypocrisy must stop. Period. Right there again. They will act religious, you know, the laws, the statutes, the commandments. All right? But they will reject the power that could make them godly. All right, if you're rejecting Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, you're rejecting godliness. All right? To reject Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is to reject godliness. Just meditate on that. That might be the title of this lesson, if I remember. All right, stay away from people like that. That's what the Apostle Paul was commanding Timothy. All right, to stay away from niggas who are hot today, then cold tomorrow. Okay? A false balance is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 6. They are the kind who work their way into people's homes and win the confidence of vulnerable women, all right, who are burdened with the guilt of sin and controlled by various desires. All right, it's easy to control women. It's a light thing. That's why, you know, we're not in a time really to be focusing on trying to get women. We're in a time of major prophecy, all right? These prophecies are popping off the page like popcorn. And you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear. If Yahweh Shemel Shai didn't bless you with no eyes to see or ears to hear, this sounds like forbidden knowledge, in which it is. Just go away. All All right, we're not out here to save the whole nation. We're looking for the elect, fishing for the elect. All right, marking the 2/3 and the heathens. All right, such women are forever following new things, but they are never able to understand the truth. All right, that's why we know that this truth isn't mainly. It's not for you women. It's not. You really have to be, what's the word? Peculiar for Yahweh Shem Yahshua to wake you up to this information. All right, because even the sisters in the truth, so-called sisters in the truth, we call them demons in a head wrap because they're worse than women in the world. All right, it is what it is. Are never able to understand the truth. Verse 8, these teachers oppose the truth, just as James and Jambres opposed Moses. That's a precept. They have depraved minds and a counterfeit faith. Wow. Continuing on, but they won't get away with this for long. Someday, everyone will recognize what fools they are, just as with James and Jambres. All right, a few more verses, almost done. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 10, right there. Paul's charge to Timothy. Continuing on. But you, Timothy, certainly know what I teach and how I live and what my purpose in life is. You know my faith, my patience, my love, and my endurance. Verse 11, you know how much persecution and suffering I have endured. You know all about how I was persecuted, okay, because we're going to be persecuted. It has already started. It's going to get worse. All right, you know how much persecution and suffering I have endured. You know all about how I was persecuted in Antioch, Iconium, and Lystra, but the Lord Yahweh rescued me from all of it. Yahweh Bashem Yahshua is going to rescue us in our persecution in these last days. Verse 12, yes, and everyone who wants to live a godly life in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai will suffer persecution, but evil people and impostors will flourish. They will deceive others and will themselves be deceived. That is exactly what's happening right now as we speak. Just look around you. Verse 14, but you must remain faithful to the things you have been taught. You know they are true, for you know you can trust those who taught you. All right, we trust the elders and apostles over at Great Millstone because they taught us this truth. They taught us the names, right? They gave us the information of who the 18 nations in the scriptures were. More or less, we also figured out who we were, all right? So-called blacks from the tribe of Judah, so-called Latinos from the tribe of Issachar, right? You so-called Native Americans from the tribe of Gad, so-called Seminole Indians from the tribe of Reuben, the Lord's firstborn, okay? So-called Puerto Ricans, tribe of Ephraim, all right? You're the head of the northern kingdom, all right? And that's because we listened and we took heed to the doctrine that our elders were teaching. Verse 15, you have been taught the holy scriptures from childhood, and they have given you the wisdom to receive the salvation by trusting in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Final verse. All scripture is inspired by God and is useful to teach us what is true, to make us realize what is wrong in our lives. It corrects us when we are wrong and teaches us to do right. Damn, that's beautiful. That's Yapa. God uses it to prepare and equip his people to do every good work. All right, I pray that you were edified by this lesson. I'm going to close it out by saying, Call Halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakah Kodash Shalom.